The Marcus Rashford story. 87,000 people held their breath. Marcus Rashford placed the ball on the penalty spot. His hands were steady, but his heart was a war drum. England versus Italy, the European Championship final, 55 years of hurt hanging in the balance. He had been here before, not on this stage exactly, but in moments where everything mattered. Moments where hunger clawed at his stomach and there was no food in the cupboard. Moments where his mum cried herself to sleep because the bills were due and the money wasn't there. Moments where a council estate kid from Wythenshawe had to believe that something better was possible. This was just another one of those moments. He stepped back, 5 paces. The Italian goalkeeper danced on his line, trying to break his concentration. The crowd roared, a wall of sound that could crush you or carry you. Marcus ran forward. He struck the ball. It sailed wide. The stadium gasped, the dream shattered. England would go on to lose, and within minutes, literally minutes, the racist messages began flooding his social media. Vile, hateful, unforgivable. His mural in Manchester, the one that had become a symbol of hope for hungry children across the country, was defaced with racist graffiti before the night was over. But here's what the trolls didn't know. Here's what the commentators who questioned his mental strength didn't understand. Marcus Rashford had already won a bigger battle than any football match. Just 1 year earlier, this 22-year-old kid from one of the poorest neighborhoods in England had forced the British government to reverse a policy decision in less than 24 hours. He had fed 1.3 million hungry children with nothing but a laptop, a letter, and the truth. He had turned a childhood of poverty into a weapon against injustice. He had taken the pain of watching his mother skip meals so he could eat and transformed it into a national movement. The penalty miss. That was just a moment. His story. That's forever. If you're not from Manchester, you might not know Wythenshawe. But if you're from Wythenshawe, the world knows you. It's one of the largest council estates in Europe, a sprawling maze of social housing, corner shops, and concrete playgrounds where dreams are born in the cracks between hardship. The poverty rate is double the national average. Unemployment runs high. Opportunity runs low. This is where Marcus Rashford was born on October 31st, 1997. His mother, Melanie, was a single mum raising 5 children in a 2-bedroom flat. The odds were stacked against them from day one. But Melanie Rashford wasn't the type to fold under pressure. She worked. God, did she work. 3 jobs, sometimes all at once. Full-time at a bedding shop, part-time at a local shop, weekend shifts wherever she could find them. She stacked shelves, worked checkouts, cleaned offices, whatever paid the bills or tried to. But even 3 jobs weren't enough. Marcus remembers the hunger. Not the kind of hunger that makes you cranky before dinner. The real kind. The kind that hollows you out and makes you ashamed. The kind that keeps you up at night because your stomach is eating itself. There were days when breakfast was whatever the school could provide. Days when lunch was the only meal. Days when he'd come home and there simply wasn't anything to eat. And then there were the days when Melanie would lie. "I'm not hungry, love. You have it." Marcus would watch his mum sit at the table, smiling, telling him and his siblings to eat, insisting she'd already had something. But he knew the truth. He could see it in her eyes. Hear it in the way her stomach growled when she thought no one was listening. She was starving herself so her children could survive. The system was not built for families like mine to succeed, Marcus would later write. And he was right. The benefits didn't stretch. The wages didn't cover it. The rent was too high, the jobs too low paying, and the help too little, too late. Families like the Rashfords were trapped in a cycle designed to keep them exactly where they were. But Melanie refused to let her children be defined by their circumstances. Even when they couldn't afford a bed for each child, and Marcus and his brothers slept on a single mattress on the floor. Even when they had to stay with friends because there was no stable place to call home. Even when she worked until her body broke and her spirit bent, she never let them see her give up. "We'll be all right," she'd say. We always are. And somehow they were. But Marcus never forgot what it cost her. He never forgot the sound of her crying herself to sleep in the next room, thinking no one could hear. He never forgot the shame of being the kid who relied on free school meals, who wore second-hand clothes, who couldn't afford the things other kids took for granted. He never forgot the hunger. And one day, he would make sure no other child had to feel it either. Football was the escape. For Marcus, the ball wasn't just a toy, it was a portal. When he was kicking a ball around the estate, he wasn't hungry. He wasn't poor. He wasn't worried about whether the lights would stay on or if there'd be food tomorrow. He was free. The other kids noticed it too. There was something different about the way Marcus played. He was faster, sharper, hungrier, literally and figuratively. He didn't just want to win, he needed asterisk to. At 7 years old, he joined Fletcher Moss Rangers, a local grassroots club in Didsbury. It was the kind of club that gave kids from estates like Wythenshawe a chance. No trials based on postcode. No fees that priced out working families. Just football, pure and simple. The coaches saw it immediately. This kid was special. Dave Horrocks, one of the coaches at Fletcher Moss, remembers Marcus as a quiet boy who let his feet do the talking. He was shy off the pitch, but on it, unbelievable. Even at that age, you could see he had something. But raw talent wasn't enough. Marcus worked. Hours and hours on the training ground, long after the other kids went home. He stayed late, practiced longer, pushed harder. Because he knew what was waiting for him at home. He knew that football wasn't just a game. It was a lifeline, a way out, a chance to change everything. And when Manchester United came calling at age 8, Marcus didn't hesitate. Manchester United Academy, age 8. Joining United's academy should have been a dream come true. And it was. But it was also terrifying. Suddenly, Marcus was training alongside kids from wealthy families. Kids whose parents could afford private coaching, expensive boots, trips to tournaments abroad. Kids who didn't know what it felt like to skip meals or sleep on a mattress on the floor. The gap wasn't just financial, it was psychological. Marcus felt it every time he walked into the training ground. The imposter syndrome. The fear that someone would realize he didn't belong. That he was just a council estate kid who got lucky. But Melanie wouldn't let him quit. "You're as good as any of them," she told him. "Better, even, because you know what it's like to fight for something." And fight he did. Marcus threw himself into training with a ferocity that bordered on obsession. While other kids treated the academy as a fun hobby, Marcus treated it like survival. Because for him, it was. Football wasn't plan B. There was no plan B. This was it. And slowly, the coaches at United began to see what Fletcher Moss had seen years earlier. This kid was different. Not just talented, asterisk-driven. He didn't celebrate goals the way other kids did, with wild emotion and theatrics. He was focused, hungry, always looking for the next opportunity. He absorbed criticism like a sponge and came back twice as determined. By the time Marcus was a teenager, he was one of the standout players in United's academy system. Scouts were whispering his name. Coaches were predicting great things. But even as his football career began to take off, life at home was still a struggle. Melanie was still working 3 jobs. The family was still barely scraping by. Marcus was still going to bed hungry more often than not. And then, one day, everything changed. February 25th, 2016, Old Trafford. Marcus Rashford was 18 years old when he made his debut for Manchester United's first team. It wasn't supposed to happen. Anthony Marshall, United's star striker, got injured in the warm-up before a Europa League match against Midtjylland. Manager Louis van Gaal turned to his coaching staff and said, goals on his debut, at 18, at Old Trafford. The crowd erupted. The common name. But even as the headlines screamed his name and the endorsements rolled in, Marcus didn't forget where he kept skipping meals. He didn't forget Wythenshawe. And when the world needed him most, he would remember all of it. nobody saw it coming. One day, life was normal. The next, the entire country was in lockdown. Schools closed. Businesses shuttered. Families locked inside their homes, terrified of an invisible virus that was killing thousands. For wealthier families, lockdown was an inconvenience. For poor families, it was a catastrophe. When schools closed, 1.3 million children in the UK lost access to free school meals. For many of these kids, that school lunch was the only reliable meal they'd get all day. Suddenly, that lifeline was gone. Families who were already struggling to make ends meet were now facing impossible choices. Pay the rent or buy food. Keep the lights on or feed the kids. Marcus saw it happening. He saw the news reports. He read the stories. He heard from families in his own community who were desperate, terrified, starving. And he thought about his mom. He thought about the nights she went to bed hungry so he could eat. He thought about the shame of relying on free school meals and the dignity it gave him to know that at least someone cared whether he ate that day. And he couldn't stay silent. The letter, June 14th, 2020. Marcus sat at his laptop and started typing. He didn't have a PR team write it for him. He didn't run it past lawyers or politicians. He just wrote from the heart, raw, honest, painful. The letter was addressed to members of parliament. But really, it was addressed to everyone who had ever turned a blind eye to child hunger. Dear Prime Minister, it began. He told them about his childhood, about Wythenshawe, about his mum working 3 jobs and still not having enough, about the breakfast clubs and the free school meals that kept him alive. He wrote, I remember the sound of my mum crying herself to sleep to this day, having worked a 14-hour shift, unsure how she was going to make ends meet. He didn't sugarcoat it. He didn't make it political. He made it human. This is not about politics. This is about humanity. And then he made his demand clear. Extend the free school meals program through the summer. Feed the children who are going hungry because of a pandemic they didn't cause. He hit publish. Within hours, the letter went viral. Celebrities shared it. Parents shared it. Teachers, nurses, social workers, everyone who had ever seen the reality of child poverty in the UK shared it. The pressure on the government became unbearable. Boris Johnson's office tried to ignore it at first. They released a statement saying the decision had been made and wouldn't be reversed. But Marcus didn't back down. He kept talking, kept posting, kept amplifying the voices of families who were suffering. The public outcry grew louder. And then, less than 24 hours after Marcus published his letter, the government blinked. Breaking news: government U-turns on free school meals. Boris Johnson announced that the free school meals program would be extended through the summer. 1.3 million children would be fed. Because a 22-year-old footballer refused to stay silent. The media exploded. Marcus Rashford forces government U-turn. Footballer succeeds where politicians failed. Rashford, the people's champion. But Marcus didn't celebrate like he'd won a trophy. He knew this was just the beginning. Because the problem wasn't just the summer. The problem was systemic. The problem was that in one of the wealthiest countries in the world, children were going to bed hungry every single night. And Marcus Rashford was going to make sure the world couldn't ignore it anymore. Feeding children through the summer was a victory. But Marcus knew it wasn't enough. What about the next school holiday? What about half-term breaks? What about the families who were still struggling, still choosing between rent and food, still watching their children go hungry? So Marcus kept fighting. In October 2020, he launched a petition calling on the government to provide free school meals during all school holidays until the pandemic was over. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Within days, over 1 million people signed the petition. 1 million. It became one of the fastest-growing petitions in UK history. Marcus partnered with Fair Share, a charity fighting food poverty, and together they launched a campaign to provide meals to families in need. They worked with local businesses, community groups, and volunteers to distribute millions of meals across the country. But once again, the government said no. In a vote on October 21st, Conservative MPs rejected the proposal to extend free school meals through the holidays. The backlash was swift and brutal. Businesses across the UK stepped up to fill the gap. Cafes, restaurants, and small businesses announced they would provide free meals to children during half-term, regardless of what the government said. Marcus retweeted every single one of them. The list grew: hundreds of businesses, thousands of meals, a grassroots movement that the government couldn't control and couldn't stop. And once again, the pressure became too much. On November 8th, Boris Johnson announced a new £170 million winter support package, including funds to help feed struggling families. Marcus had won, again. But this time, it was bigger than just a policy change. It was a movement. We returned to where we started. Wembley Stadium, the European Championship final, the penalty that went wide. Marcus had carried the hopes of a nation on his shoulders and stumbled under the weight. The miss was devastating. England lost the final. 55 years of hurt extended to 56. But what happened next was worse. Within minutes, racist abuse flooded Marcus's social media. Vile, disgusting, unforgivable. Comments that can't be repeated here. Slurs that reduced a human being who had fed over 1 million children, to the color of his skin. And it wasn't just online. His mural in Wythenshawe, the one that had become a symbol of hope and resilience, was defaced with racist graffiti. For a moment, it seemed like the hate had won. But then, something beautiful happened. If you are yet to subscribe, PLS subscribe. Like and comment, let us know how this video has impacted you. The people of Manchester woke up the next morning and saw what had been done to Marcus's mural. And they refused to let hate have the last word. Hundreds of people descended on the mural. They covered the racist graffiti with messages of love, gratitude, and support. Parents brought their children. Teachers brought their students. Strangers brought flowers, sticky notes, and hearts. The messages were simple, but powerful. Thank you for feeding our kids. You are our hero. Manchester stands with you. We love you, Marcus. Within hours, the wall of hate became a wall of hope. The mural wasn't just restored, it was transformed into something even more powerful. A testament to the fact that love is always louder than hate, that community is stronger than cruelty. Marcus visited the mural later that week. He stood in front of the messages, reading them one by one, tears in his eyes. I will never apologize for who I am, he later wrote. And he didn't. He kept fighting, kept speaking out, kept using his platform to lift others up. Because that's who Marcus Rashford is. A man who turns pain into power. A man who refuses to let hate define him. A man who understands that real strength isn't measured by penalties scored. It's measured by how you respond when you miss. The MBE, October 2021. In October 2021, Marcus Rashford was awarded an MBE, Member of the Order of the British Empire, by Queen Elizabeth II for his services to vulnerable children during the COVID-19 pandemic. He was 23 years old. He walked into Buckingham Palace wearing a sharp suit, accompanied by his family, and received the honor from Prince William. It should have been the proudest moment of his life. But Marcus didn't keep the medal. He gave it to his mom. Because everything he had accomplished, every goal, every campaign, every victory was built on her sacrifice. Melanie Rashford stood in her son's kitchen, holding the MBE in her hands, tears streaming down her face. I sit there sometimes and just cry, she said, to think of where we've come from. From skipping meals so her children could eat, to watching her son receive an MBE from the Queen. From a council flat in Wythenshawe, to a house Marcus bought for her with his own money. From poverty and pain to pride and purpose. The house. Marcus didn't just give his mom a medal. He gave her a home. A real home, paid in full. A place where she would never have to worry about rent or bills or whether there would be food on the table. A place where she could finally rest. When Melanie walked into the house for the first time, she couldn't believe it. All those years of working 3 jobs, all those nights going to bed hungry, all those tears cried in the dark. It had all led to this. Her son hadn't just escaped poverty. He'd brought her with him. And he'd done it by never forgetting where he came from. If you are yet to subscribe, PLS do that and comment how this video has impacted you. 2020 to 2024, the work goes on. Marcus Rashford didn't stop after the government U-turns. He didn't stop after the MBA. He didn't stop after buying his mum a house. Because child poverty didn't stop. Through his foundation and partnerships with organizations like Fair Share, he has helped distribute millions of meals to families across the UK. He wrote a book, * You Are a Champion *, to inspire children from backgrounds like his, to tell them that their circumstances don't define their future, that they have the power to change their own story. He continues to speak out about systemic inequality, about the need for real change, about the fact that no child in one of the richest countries in the world should ever go to bed hungry. And he does it all while still playing football at the highest level for Manchester United and England. Because Marcus Rashford understands something most people don't. Success isn't about what you achieve. It's about what you do with it. What pain will you turn into purpose? Marcus Rashford's story isn't just about football. It's not even just about food poverty. It's about transformation. It's about taking the deepest pain of your life, the hunger, the shame, the struggle, and using it as fuel to change the world. Marcus could have made it to the top and forgotten where he came from. He could have signed the endorsement deals, bought the fancy cars, lived the life of a superstar, and never looked back. But he didn't. Because he never forgot his mum crying herself to sleep. He never forgot the hunger. He never forgot the kids who are growing up right now in estates like Wythenshawe, wondering if they'll ever escape. And instead of running from that pain, he ran toward it. He turned suffering into service. He turned struggle into strength. He turned poverty into purpose. In his own words, when you come from a place of struggle and pain, a lot of the time it switches and becomes your source of drive and motivation. That's the secret. Pain isn't pointless. Your struggle isn't the end of your story. It can become the fuel for something greater than yourself. Marcus Rashford proves that one person, one voice, one letter, one act of courage can change a nation. That you don't need a title or a position of power to make a difference. You just need to care enough to act. The world is full of broken systems. Systems that fail the vulnerable. Systems that ignore the hungry. Systems that tell people like Marcus Rashford they don't belong. But the world is also full of people who refuse to accept those systems. People who see injustice and say, "Not on my watch." People who turn their pain into power and their struggle into purpose. People like Melanie Rashford, who worked 3 jobs and skipped meals so her children could survive. People like Marcus Rashford, who took that sacrifice and turned it into a movement that fed over 1 million children. So here's the question. What pain are you carrying? What struggle have you endured that could become your source of strength? What injustice have you witnessed that you refuse to ignore? Because your story isn't over. And maybe, just maybe, your pain isn't pointless. Maybe it's preparation. For the moment when you'll stand up, speak out, and change the world. Just like a council estate kid from Wythenshawe did. If you are yet to subscribe, PLS do that, and comment how this video has impacted you. Today, if you visit Wythenshawe, South Manchester, you'll find a mural of Marcus Rashford. It's not just a painting. It's a monument to sacrifice, to resilience, to the power of one voice to change a nation. The wall is still covered in messages from the community. Flowers, notes, drawings from children who see Marcus as more than a footballer. They see him as proof. Proof that where you come from doesn't determine where you're going. Proof that struggle can become strength. Proof that even when the system is rigged against you, you can still win. And in the center of it all is Marcus, captured in vibrant color, larger than life, with a quote that sums up everything. Take pride in knowing that your struggle will play the biggest role in your purpose. That mural was defaced with hate, but it was reborn in love. Just like Marcus himself. From Wythenshawe to Wembley. From hunger to hope. From a council estate to Buckingham Palace. This is his story. And maybe it's a mirror for yours.